Okay, so first to review, you want to make sure you have the collar in the proper position before you start stacking your dog. And you always want to remember, if you have control of the head, you have control of the dog. So you get your collar up around the ears, and you want to remember that you need to hold on to the collar in order to have good control of the dog. So don't try to stack the dog by holding the leash this way. Instead, once you've snugged it up, put your fingers underneath, take the excess, lay it across, and hold it. And now you have control of the head. Another little trick is, once your dog is more trained, you can do pressure to the left or pressure to the right by rotating your hand. For those who have horses, it's like neck reining. The dog will learn to step to one side or the other side depending on what you do. So your collar position is what you want to do first. The next review is, we want to review stopping. So when you stack your dog, remember you're always sideways to your dog. So when we move the dog and we're coming into our position where we're going to stop, you have tightened up the leash, and as you start to stop, you turn sideways to the dog. So before you have even stopped, you're sideways to the dog. To begin stacking, you always stack on the judge's side first, and you start with the left front. Your left hand is going to stack the left front. If you have a breed that has a lot of bone or you have very small hands, you will just simply reach at the point of the chest and where the leg goes in and lift the leg. Switch hands. Right hand does the right leg. Switch hands. With big dogs like Great Danes, we go under the rear and you grab them right at the point of the stifle and set the leg in the position you want, and then set the other rear leg. If the dog moves, just put it back. And to start with, it doesn't have to be perfect. Have them hold still for a second, and then, good girl, yes, that was good. Yes, that was good. So review again. Come to where you're stopping. Be sideways to the dog. Make sure you have the collar where you want it. Collar in the right hand, left leg. Switch, right hand, right leg. Switch. Big dogs go under at the point of the stifle. I don't need to set her rear there. She had a leg injury, so she's a bit hesitant on this left rear leg. So we give her a little bit of leeway on that. And then just encourage him to stand still. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. If your dog tries to lean on you like she is, don't let him. Just put him back in position, stand away from him, and continue your work. Stay. When she holds still for a second, I will release her. No, stay. 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 Try not to hold her middle like this. My hand is ready to correct her, but I'm not pushing up on her tummy. Good girl. Okay. Okay. With smaller breeds, people tend to reach down here and set the leg. It's difficult for me to do with her because she's got that leg injury. But when you grab the hawk, you grab the hawk. You do not grab your hand here at this muscle, because that's just like getting you behind the back of the knees. You reach down, have your thumb by the bottom of the hawk, wrap your fingers around the leg, and pick the leg up and position it where you want to. Again, with her, it's hard because of the leg injury she had. With the bigger dogs, if you're short like me, doing that is really hard because I just can't quite reach that far. And once she gets bigger, there's no chance. So anything from ridgeback on, usually I will go under. And it depends somewhat on the dog. Stand. Good girl. Okay, good girl. Okay, so a few things you don't want to do. When you're trying to stack your dog, it's very common when you go to the rear that your hand drops and you're pulling the dog back. And what happens? The dog backs up and the dog's moving and you're going like, why is the dog moving? So if you need to have a little memory or a reminder to keep that collar up, stick your index finger out and touch the ear. And as long as your finger's touching the ear, your hand is in the proper position. And then you can bend and stack your dog. But if you drag the collar back here, chances are the dog's gonna move. And then also you're gonna have to turn around, fiddle, and get the collar back in position. And remember, you only have a few minutes to get or a few seconds actually, to get your dog stacked and organized. The other thing you want to remember is when you're stacking, you have to change hands. So left hand, left front, switch.
And bow.
Right hand, right front, switch. Sometimes you'll see people who will try to do this, reach over, okay? Or reach this way. That just doesn't work. So left hand, left front, right hand, right front, left hand, the rear, whether you're going to go under, stay. Good. Good girl. She's a little bit better now than she was. And then once you've got them stacked, do a double check on the front. And you can bait your dog if you want. And we'll talk about baiting later. Good girl. Okay, good girl. She moved a leg. Again, like I said, this is a problem leg for her. We know that. We need to do some exercise on it. And that's basically for stacking. The one thing to remember is you want to let your dog succeed, whether they're a puppy or an adult. If this is new to them, only insist they hold still for a few moments and try to get them steady on the stack and holding still until you have somebody start to do the exam. Because if you've got a really wiggly, friendly puppy, or maybe a puppy that's a little bit shy, it's going to be hard to get through the exam and keep the dog stacked. So work on the stack, get them steady on that, and then start working on the exam. And that's it for today.